There we go. We're live.
All right. I wonder how much of a lag there is between when you see it and when we see it, if any.
I don't know. I know that there's about a 20-second delay between us talking and anyone who's watching on like YouTube or anything.
Okay.
Right.
That seems about right then. That's probably about how long we sit here and wait after we click the
Yeah.
record button.
But anyway,
How are you guys doing?
I'm tired.
Better. Was horribly sick last week.
Oh, Derek, yeah. I was in the same boat, actually. I was a few days ahead of you, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Thanksgiving weekend, or Thanksgiving Day, I guess, I did a smoked brisket and smoked vegetables and stuff, and
That sounds
turned
so
out
good.
awesome. It was definitely worth doing it, but ended up getting a raging awful sinus infection and ear infection that weekend, and I have problems with doing smoked stuff, giving me sinus infections.
oh, interesting. Like
And then-
making it or eating it?
Making it, going outside
Okay.
and standing in the smoke and stuff. So
Oh,
I've got
okay.
this really fancy smoker that basically lets me just turn the thing on and then walk away for 12 hours. But when I'm doing vegetables and other things, then I have to be
Oh.
out there more often. And
Okay.
when the smoke jacks up my sinuses. And then we had a cold front roll in, which caused all of the cedar trees in the area to explode with pollen, which I'm highly allergic to as well. So it just really, really screwed me up. I was
Perfect.
out for the entire week, like did not do a
Ugh.
single thing all week except for sleep 5 hours a day and play video games.
Perfect storm.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, Derek has a smoking problem.
I do.
You need my Darth Vader mask. When I was doing razor stuff, when I was making my
Yeah.
straight razors, you can't a lot of the time, the way I would do it is I would forge the steel to shape, roughly to shape, and then I would spend the rest of the time grinding it.
Mhm.
And so it would take me half an hour to do the forging, and then it would take me like 5 or 6 hours to grind the stupid thing.
Mhm.
And that thing just spewed metal dust everywhere, and you don't really want to be breathing in
No.
metal dust for any length of time. So I had this Darth Vader mask that I would wear.
Yeah, no, I'm considering getting one of those. I've got some of the cheapo, just little flimsy wraparound.
Yeah, those are
But
useless.
Those are pretty much useless. So I'm probably gonna, next time I do any kind of smoked whatever on my smoker, I'm gonna go buy one of those
Get
fancy ones.
the whole hazmat suit.
Exactly.
Have you watched those Will It Blend videos?
Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Don't breathe this.
Yeah.
Like he does like some glass or something. He's like, this is
Yeah.
glass dust. Don't breathe this.
Yep.
Nice.
Shred your lungs to pieces and never get it out. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They blend an iPhone. He's just
Yeah.
We blended up a battery.
All
Don't
kinds of
breathe
fun
this.
stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, along with the sleeping and video games, I picked up crocheting again, which I did
Oh, really?
years ago when I was a kid. Learned the basics of it from my grandma. So one of the things I made recently is this little fish.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're listening to the podcast, you're gonna want to go check this out on the video.
It's like a yellow. Is it a is
it's
it around
orange.
an egg? Like an
No,
egg? Or-
no, it's stuffed with toy stuffing,
Oh, okay. Okay.
plastic toy stuffing. But I
That's pretty cool.
got the smile and the mouth and the dorsal fin with and the flippers and
It's
everything.
basically a
red
hacky
trim.
sack with
Yeah, totally.
fins on it.
Pretty much. So I did that. Have you guys seen the movie Ponyo? It's a Miyazaki movie.
No.
If anybody's
I've
seen
heard of it.
Ponyo, I did my own little
Oh, my
interpretation of
That's
Ponyo
freaky, dude.
crochet. And then I've got like a couple of turtles that I made for my kids and a little whale that I did, and it's fun.
goodness. I used to do stuff like that when I was like a kid. I
Yeah.
lived out in the country and we had nothing to do really, so I would do all kinds of crazy little crafty things like that.
Yeah, I learned how to do this when I was 9. I saw my grandma making pot holders and things like that. Up in middle of nowhere, Minnesota, where she lived at the time, and so I asked her, can you teach me how to do that? And I think when I was that age, the most I ever learned how to do was just making a really long chain, and that
Yeah.
was it. I could never figure out how to get it to go back onto itself to make anything, even a pot holder or a scarf or anything like that. And then about a month ago, my daughter saw some little crochet animal book at Barnes and Noble, and she's 6, so she thinks these things are going to be just fun little arts and crafts things that are easy.
Oh.
She's like, "Ooh, I want that!" I'm like, hold on. I've done this before. This is not as easy as I think it is, little 6-year-old. But we went to Michael's and bought some crochet hooks and yarn, like little $2 bundles of yarn. And so I started teaching her and my son how to do the real basic pattern of a crochet chain, just by using their hands at first. And my daughter's kind of sort of starting to figure out how to do it with an actual hook. And I just ran with it. I sat down and remembered how to do the basic chain, and then looked at what I was holding in that basic chain and thought, okay, if I do this, looping back in onto itself, that should probably work, and it kind of did. And then I found some pretty good tutorials on YouTube on actual crochet technique, and just started running with it, followed a few patterns, and started making things up myself.
That's pretty cool. My very first that I can remember, my very first entrepreneurial venture was I got this like, they had back in like the 90s, they had these looms. It was like
Yeah.
you'd have these nylon loops, and you'd
Yep.
weave it, and then you could make a pot. Basically, all you could make was pot holders,
yep.
pretty much, because it was like a square.
Yeah.
And they were terrible pot holders because it was nylon, I think, and it
Right.
would probably melt if it actually touched anything hot. But I remember making those things and then like going around to the neighbors and trying to sell them and like
Yep.
force them on people. I think I sold a couple. It was probably just out of pity. It was pure pity.
I'm sorry to state that I wasn't a grandma in a past life, so
Yeah.
I don't have stories like this.
I am still a grandma, and my kids love it. Every time I make something, my daughter's like, "Ooh, can I have it?"
Yeah, that sounds about right.
My second entrepreneurial venture, Chuck, was leathercraft, though. So at least I redeemed.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I redeemed myself there, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I was-
upgraded to a grandpa.
I
No,
taught a
other craft
class.
school.
Yeah, I taught a leather carving class. I was like 12, and
Nice.
yeah, it was fun. Made like $12.
Woo. Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was my last week, and then this week just trying to catch up from having been out for half a month between Thanksgiving and then being sick. I didn't do hardly anything. So, but my Black Friday sale. So I don't think I ever got to announce that since I've been out for so long. My total sales on that. Let me pull up the numbers. There were a few people. There were. So I closed it Tuesday morning to make sure that people had time with time zone changes and all that.
Yeah.
I told people it was going to be done Monday night, and I closed it Tuesday morning just to account for time zones. And even after I closed it Tuesday morning, a couple of people snuck in afterwards and bought it because I can't disable the download itself. I can't delete it. I have to leave the download live in my system because people need to be able to download their files after having purchased it.
Oh yeah.
So I put a password protection on it, and I took down the sales page so people can't actually get to it anymore. But anybody that had previously added it to their shopping cart could just hit the shopping cart, and it would still be there. So all things said and done, I sold 74 copies of it at $97.
Nice.
A couple of those were giveaways as well, for a total of $7,178.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty dang awesome for about 8 hours worth of effort putting together the emails and sales page and whatnot.
That's great. Well done.
Yep.
So did that push you over your? You had the goal. What was your goal? Was it 150?
Yeah, my goal for the year was 150, and that did push me over That sale for the whole month, that sale put me at 19,000 for income for the month. Well, I guess it didn't quite push me over my 150. I am currently sitting at 149,618. However, that doesn't account for the income that I've already had this month.
Okay.
So my income from this month from Watch Me Code so far is sitting at 1,100. So I'm well over my 150,000
Nice.
goal. I'm still going to have a paycheck of about 4,800 from my client, so I'm going to be sitting at 155,000, and then with the rest of the month for Watch Me Code, I'll bring in another 2,000, 2,500 almost. So I'll be sitting at like 157, 158,000 by the end of the month.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is definitely nice. Of course, that's all before taxes and expenses and everything.
And health insurance.
Yeah, and I mean, you instantly cut that to 100,000 for actual usable income, and then drop another 25,000 for expenses and advertising and everything else that I pay for over the years. So I'm looking at probably 70 to 80,000 of actual take-home income to pay for things, which, you know, if you look at it that way, I'm still at a significant pay reduction compared to any of my previous jobs. I mean, I previously made 95,000 at a couple of different jobs. I made 120,000 at one job. So I'm, you know, still looking at a significant pay reduction even with 150,000 of income. But all things said and done, I'm significantly happier.
And you get to take 2 weeks if you get.
Yeah, right. I took 2 weeks off and I didn't care. I was like, no, I'm not doing anything. I don't care.
Yep.
Nobody's going to bother me about it. I had an episode of Watch Me Code already recorded. You know, it was, so I posted it anyways, and that was it. I did not have to stress about taking those 2 weeks off at all.
That's really awesome.
And I'll be taking 2 more weeks off at the end of December. We're driving up to Kansas to spend a couple of weeks for Christmas with my family up there. And again, you know, don't care. Don't have to worry about time off and PTO and whether or not I'm going to get all my work done and everything, because I work on my own schedule.
Sweet. Derek, I was thinking about something for you yesterday. We've talked about this before, but I really feel like you've got to get the Watch Me Code bundled in with these bundles you're selling.
Yeah.
So, I was listening to one of Perry Marshall's seminars again this week, and he was talking about they added a checkbox. So they've got like one of their bigger, I don't know, a few $100 products. They added a checkbox underneath it that lets people opt in. So it's not forced, like they're not forcing you, but it's just a checkbox to opt in to get a free 60-day trial of his $100 a month mastermind club, and like 35% of people check the box.
Wow.
Voluntarily. So, I mean, even if you got, you know, for this type of thing, even if it was just a fraction of that, even if it was 10%, you know, you do enough sales throughout the year with these bundles that you could, you know, that could be a significant source of new Watch Me Code subscribers for you.
Yeah, it could be. Part of the reason that I'm doing the bundles, though, well, actually, honestly, the big reason that I'm doing the bundles is because there are a large number of people who either can't or won't pay for a monthly subscription.
Yeah.
And so that's when I do my sales, my launch sequences, I did a terrible job of it this time, and I had a few people ask about it. But when I do my launch sequences, I try to make it very explicitly known, hey, these are screencasts from the Watch Me Code subscription. If you've got a subscription, you can go get them now.
Okay. Yeah, we've talked about this before.
So the way Perry's talking about would be if the products were different. Like, here's product A that you're buying, And if you want a subscription to Service B, which has products B, C,
Yeah.
D, and E, then that
Yeah,
would
this is
work.
just you're repackaging the same thing
Right.
and selling it. Yeah, forgot about that.
But I want to do something like that, whether it's with my book bundles or something. It would be nice to have another aspect. But I'm
Yeah.
doing fair in terms of getting people into Watch Me Code these days. Even during my bundle sale for Black Friday, I had like 6 or 8 people sign up for monthly subscription out of that because they saw, hey, looks really good, and I can get it for a monthly subscription instead of paying for the bundle.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get a few conversions out of that into subscribers, but overall my subscriber count is like totally waffling up and down, up and down, up and down. I was up to 425 again 2 weeks ago, and now I'm back down to 417. It's just keeps going up and down, and I think part of that is probably some people from my big birthday sale starting to drop off, and then just standard attrition that you end up getting. Some of it is people that want browser-based JavaScript or are complaining that I'm focusing on Node these days, which, all right, see you later.
Node, right?
Bye.
Yeah.
Because my Node stuff is killing it. I've had a lot of people sign up just for the Node stuff, and I'm planning like the next 6 months being focused on Node and Express architecture and building out this production app for Watch Me Code, and people are loving it.
Well, and it's not like they can't go somewhere else to get information about about browser-based JavaScript. I mean,
exactly. I mean, and I do have a bunch of that from my older episodes, which I'm listing now in my series pages. Which I think a lot of people are seeing the series page and they're going, "Oh, great! There's a lot of good stuff here that I want to see," and they're signing up for that as well. So it's going well overall. It's good to see groups of people signing up, but I wish it would be consistently growing instead of waffling up and down.
Yeah.
I think once we get past Christmas and my mailing list starts to grow again, because I destroyed my mailing list with that Black Friday sale. I sent out 14 emails in like a week and a half, but still like 14 emails, and I lost. I think it was out of 5,100 people, I lost like 150 people off of that.
That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean if you consider the percentage and the number of emails that I sent, it's not bad, but
like 1% would be what, 51?
50,
so it's like 3% overall. Like that's that's not bad at all.
So the numbers on the individual emails stayed at around 0.5%, like they do. But when you send 14 emails, that 0.5% adds up.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty. For me, I see that like 0.4% is to 0.5% is what I see pretty consistently on my daily broadcasts that I've been doing.
And so when I say lost 150, that's net loss, which includes the number of people that also joined in that period of time.
Right.
So actual unsubscribes, 5,100 times I can't do math. So 50 times 14. What's 50 times 14? 50 times 14, 700. Yeah. So I actually probably had 500 or 600 people unsubscribe in that period of time, but then I had a couple hundred more people subscribe. So
nice. How's your traffic these days?
Terrible. I don't know what it is.
Derek Bailey or
both? Where's Google Analytics? My DerekBailey.com tanked in the last 2 weeks because I've been sick. And by tanked, I mean it went from around 28,000 monthly visitors down to it's currently sitting at 21,000.
Okay.
Watch Me Code actually I think this includes the Watch Me Code stats still include the big bumps that I had from the Black Friday weekend. So it's sitting at 5,300 sessions, which is an improvement overall.
But you were driving. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, there was a lot of traffic driving there. I'm looking at the trend line right now, and actually in the last week, it's gone up quite a bit. I typically average around 100 sessions a day, and for the last week, I've been averaging around 150 to 160 per day, which is good. But yeah, I've got so during that launch for like 2 weeks there, I disabled my Watch Me Code pitch emails to my mailing list.
Okay.
I stopped blogging. I turned off all of my weekly emails. I wanted nothing to be sent out except for this launch sequence. And now I'm slowly turning things back on to get people back into the regular sequence of emails that I'm sending. So I've got most of it turned back on now, but I haven't been blogging at all for the last couple of weeks, and I'm trying to pick that up again. So I've got a post. I had one post this week. I've got one scheduled for Monday, another one that I'm hoping to get written for Wednesday, and then I'm going to try and build out a buffer of blog posts again to get people back onto my daily emails and get people back into the subscription sales pitch.
Yeah, it sounds like you're driving a lot of traffic every week just with the new posts.
Yeah.
So it's not really recurring traffic necessarily.
Yeah, a lot of traffic with the new posts. I'll get, like, if you look at the last couple of months that I've been doing the new posts on Mondays and Wednesdays, you'll see a huge bump on Monday, pretty good on Tuesday, another big bump on Wednesday. Thursday is pretty good. Friday drops off, weekend tanks, and then it starts over again. But that drives a lot of subscriptions, email subscribers as well.
Right.
And the email subscribers are the people that end up in my Watch Me Code sales pitch after a couple of weeks. So it's working pretty well overall. I'm starting to do the whole virtual conference thing in 2016. I've got JS Remote Conf with Chuck set up. I've got a PHP conference that I'm doing as well in February. I'll be talking about ES6 stuff in browser, basically, for people doing PHP development. And then I need to do some more looking around for user groups and other virtual conferences to do throughout the year. And I'm thinking I'm going to focus all of my conference-oriented stuff on that, on the virtual side of things in 2016. Might do one or two in-person conferences, but that's looking pretty iffy at this point. We'll have to wait and see what conferences I get invited to, if any.
I've heard about this one conference that sounds pretty good called MicroConf.
Yeah, sounds pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about going to that finally.
Yeah, that should be great.
But yeah, that's about it for me. Taking up the first half hour here, so.
I'm just kind of curious though. I mean, it sounds like you've been doing well with the Black Friday sale and the other sales, and you're talking about doing the online conferences next year. But what are you trying to accomplish next year with all of that? Are you just trying to up Watch Me Code subscribers? Are you trying to sell more of your packages? Or
both.
Is there some other thing that you're aiming at that you see that the online conferences and some of these other things can help you with?
Both of those first two things. I want an increase in my overall. I want a consistent increase in my monthly income from Watch Me Code, and the baseline that I get from Watch Me Code comes from my subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that are paying me monthly, which right now bring in about $3,500 a month, which is pretty nice. But I would like that to be double by the end of 2016. I don't know how to do that though, so I'm kind of just haphazardly trying things at this point, starting with the virtual conferences, and just kind of going from there. I think I started moving down this path with the email sequence that I have set up for Watch Me Code now. So people that join my mailing list are eventually getting the pitch for Watch Me Code subscription. And I think that's going to help a lot in terms of just a regular number of people coming in to Watch Me Code, but it's not going to provide the big bumps that I've had in the past, which have created my large amounts of growth. You know, the initial launch 2 years ago of Watch Me Code saw 200 people, and then a short while later I did another big pitch and I bumped it up to 300, and then I did my birthday sale, which bumped it up to 400. Mm-hmm. So it's the real growth in Watch Me Code has continuously happened with these big bumps from large events, not from the just trickle in of monthly subscribers. And so I'm trying to get the trickle of monthly subscribers to be more consistent and to help grow things, but then I want to find more opportunities for the big bumps in subscribers,
right,
which would give me the growth that I want by the end of 2016. And then on the package sales front, that's probably something I'm always going to do, because there are a regular number of people that ask me for bundle sales that say, hey, I wanted to do a subscription, but I can't do a monthly expense on my training budget.
Right.
Can I pay you X dollars for these screencasts? So that's where the bundle sales really come in, is people that want the training, want the videos, and they can expense it in their training budget, and they'll buy a much more expensive bundle that way instead of a monthly subscription.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess the other thing that I'm driving at is...
Chuck sounds like he's in year-end planning mode or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Or your start planning.
Yeah,
which I'm terrible at that. I don't know how to plan for this stuff. I have this grand idea that I want to double my subscriber base and continue at least quarterly bundle sales to bring in an extra 30,000, 40,000 a year. But I don't know how to really explicitly plan with things that will double my subscribers.
Well, how much traffic are you getting right now, Derek? Or sorry, we already talked about that. How how many email subscribers are you getting a month, average?
300 or 400 subscribers. Net growth is around 20 or 30, but actual new subscribers. Sorry, net growth is like 50 to 100 in a given month. New subscribers is like 300 or 400, but I get a lot of drop off because I send so many emails.
So right off the bat, I'm doing some quick math here. Divided by, and so you were seeing like 28,000 visits a month when you were blogging?
Yeah, blogging twice a week.
All right. Yeah, right off the bat there, like your traffic, like your overall site conversion is right around 1.2%.
Right.
Which is pretty low.
Yep.
So that would be one place. That would be the place to start. I think you could get that up to 2, 3, 4%, and now you're like, if you doubled that, now you're at 700 a month.
Right. How do I do that though? Because I've tried. I mean, I've got Sumo Me going,
right?
And it's doing fairly well. Let me log into it.
Yeah. What do you have on your site now? What are you doing now?
One second. I've got the welcome mat going. And logging into my control panel. It's got a 1.62% conversion rate on that.
Okay. And then you've got the welcome mat. Do you have the scroll up? The scroll box, little pop up?
Yes, I do. So if you the pop up which it's not a modal, it's the one in the corner
Yeah.
from Drip. That one gets people onto the 5 rules of mastering JavaScript this.
Okay.
So that is a targeted, pop-up for a specific email course, not just for my mailing list in general.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the things I would look at doing, if you get, it might be worth investing the $20 a month to get SumoMe Pro and start to split test the, because you, like pretty typically, it varies week to week, but I typically see more like 2 to 3% from my welcome mat. And then the scroll, I don't know what your scroll up, like what you're seeing from that, but I typically see
low.
like 1.5%, I think, from that.
Right.
So that's pretty decent. And those I literally just threw them up. They're not even really optimized. So
yeah,
if you work with that, I think that would at least start to get you. Are those the only sources of opt-ins you have?
Yes.
And then do you have any Twitter cards with?
I have a Twitter card pinned on Twitter for the JavaScript this course again, which I'm kind of wondering if that's hitting its end of life.
It would probably be good to. Are you tweeting out those more than that often? Like, are you ever tweeting out Twitter cards?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have them in your rotation?
Yeah, I have them set up like 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay. It would be worth looking at those and seeing which ones. It might be time to refresh them. Like you can actually look at the conversion or the interaction on them, and then look to do new images. Or if you're not using it, well, you have to use images for cards, yeah.
Right.
So the images are kind of the headline. Like they give you the most. Changing the image will give you the biggest bang for your buck. So trying a few different images there.
Okay.
But I think the SumoMe, starting to get some testing there, and maybe trying a few different offers. That should be able to get you some growth, and then also go look at your posts and find the top posts, and then add a related offer.
That's a good idea.
Each of those, so it's like the content upgrade approach.
Right.
I think with those two things, with SumoMe, like improving your opt-in rate there, and getting some content upgrades in place on your like maybe top 5 to 10 blog posts, and I'm talking ones from blog posts that you're getting search engine traffic to. That's not like, they're the top ones over the last 6 months, not the top ones this week.
Right.
That makes sense, because then you're getting new people that.
Yeah.
So I went in. I did that top over the life of the blog because it's only a couple years old, and I used that top list to generate my best of Derek Bailey email sequence.
There you go. Yep.
So when people get onto my mailing list, they get put into the best of sequence as well.
Yeah.
And then that gets sent out once a week on Tuesdays.
So yeah, do a little lead magnet. Do a and actually this would be a great if you want to try Thrive. This would be the time to do it, because you can get you off the. Well, you're stuck with. Are you stuck with lead pages?
No, I dumped them.
Okay.
I quit them last month too.
You can do the content upgrades now with lead pages. So get that install. With Thrive. So install that, and then put together little. I mean, it could even just be like if you've got some code, it could just be like download the code sample or. Something that's just really tightly related that helps them take the next step.
Right.
And I've seen, like, the case studies I've seen on that are anywhere from like 5 to 15% of people that hit that post will take the upgrade.
Nice.
So that gets you from 1% on those top posts up to 5, 10, 15%.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
I think spending a month or two doing that would be like really, that's a high leverage activity there.
Right.
The other thing that just kind of occurred to me while we were talking about this was that the online conferences aren't going to take up all of your time, so you need to know what these other things are. The other thing I would do is I would put down what kind of targets you want them to hit, so that you can say, okay, this was really successful, or it was kind of successful, and you can start saying, okay, well,
Mhm.
leveraging this gets me a 4 times or whatever bump or
Yeah.
however that works out, and that way you can start to really pay attention to, okay, this isn't quite meeting my target, but it got close, so maybe if I tweak it, it'll get me there, or I've changed this 6 different ways and it just doesn't seem to pay off ever, so
Right.
I'm going to ignore this for a while, and then maybe I can come back to it if I have some other ideas or evidence that it's going to work out.
Right.
Yep. And for the conferences also, think the same way. Think content upgrades. Like, what can you offer that's like the next step? That's like directly related to whatever it is that you're talking about.
Yep.
The other thing I'm going to start doing this year at some point is I got an email. So I'm on Ryan Dice's email list, and his site is digitalmarketer.com, and he's definitely a little bit on the shady side. Like, some of his stuff's really, really good, but like, I know one of his business partners was in jail at one point. I don't know the details of that, whether the guy actually did anything wrong or not, but so he tends to be a little on the shady side. So I'm not really endorsing him, but I got an email from them, and they were publishing this week. They're publishing this huge 10,000 word email marketing for e-commerce guide, and I perked up because I knew John McIntyre, the guy who does the email marketing podcast that John was on. He's shifted his business, and now he's focusing on e-commerce businesses that do like at least $3 million a year or something like that. And so he's niched himself down into e-commerce, and so I was like, oh, this sounds like what John McIntyre is doing. So I checked it out, and it was the first installment. It was like 3,000 words, and it was by John McIntyre, and it was a guest blog post by him, and it was like super comprehensive. And this type of thing is like, this is one of those evergreen, like, it's going to be those. It's like basically a book. An online book, and it's going to get so much traffic. I saw this with Sublime, where there was a guy who published, I forget the name. It was the Tuts. That's what it was. It was the Tuts Plus course on Sublime, and it was like a 12 video course. And that I freaking hated that course because it was the most tweeted thing. I would see that thing every other tweet practically for more than 2 years. Every other tweet was that stupid course, and so if you could, that is like massively viral, is what I'm getting at. And so putting together, I don't know what might look like for your audience, but that type of thing, it would be better to invest 50 hours putting together something like that than writing 100 blog posts for your blog. As long as assuming they let you drive traffic back to your blog.
Right.
That's the really important part. But yeah, because if you can get something like that, I mean, that one post on Pat Flynn has made me, on Pat Flynn's site, has made me, gosh, probably $20,000 to $30,000 at this point.
Wow.
And it continues. I mean, I continue to get. It still continues to drive virtually all of my email lists. I mean, I get hundreds of people. I get probably 150 to 200 subscribers a month from that one blog post. It took me 20 hours to put it together, but it was like,
worth it at this point.
Yeah, it'll probably end up being $2,000 to $3,000 an hour work.
Right.
By the time it eventually peters out and AppSumo kills the plugin or whatever.
Right.
But, yeah, so I don't know what that looks like for you, but I'd be looking for opportunities like that.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing similar to the online conference stuff is going out and being on other people's podcasts. So if you can go through the list of JavaScript or, similar, and be on there and talk about ES6 or talk about queuing messaging like we talked about on JavaScript Jabber and stuff, I think you can definitely make some headway there too.
Right.
And again, you just put that, that special offer, that lead magnet, whatever it is, up so that people have that incentive to go to your stuff and get on your list. You borrow other people's audiences. Guest posting is another good way to do that. So then you're driving traffic from other people's places, kind of like what Josh did with Pat Flynn.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the angle that I'm trying with the whole virtual conference thing, because clearly I don't have any kind of inroads in the PHP community at this point. So getting in front of that community will hopefully give people somebody over there in that community will be interested in Watch Me Code for the JavaScript aspect of things. Mm-hmm. Getting into JS Remote Conf is going to be a new audience, your audience that you've got, and hopefully drive more people to me as well. So that's definitely part of it. And we've talked about the whole guest posting thing a million times, and I've just never done it. So
what I would do though is I would actually sit down and write out a plan.
Right.
And then just say, look, I'm going to speak at 5 remote conferences this year, and I'm going to get on 10 podcasts this year, and then just go and make it happen.
Right.
And that way okay, I did all the things that I said I was going to do, and I'm seeing how they're all paying off.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see. I'm doing doing the virtual conference thing in February, or is it January?
For who?
So I'm curious to see what I'm expecting. I'm kind of like, for me, I'm viewing it as more of a credibility builder, and also a chance to kind of get like a presentation put together and start to kind of work on my shtick a little bit and get some experience. I'm expecting, Chuck, you can tell me what you think about this, but I'm expecting that the conference will probably have, my session will probably have a few hundred people on it, and I will probably get 10. Well, I would say probably if say 300 people show up, that might be kind of high. I'm expecting to get maybe 60 to 100 email signups out of that. So it's not going to be a huge like move the needle thing for me, but I'm assuming I'll get a recording of this that I can use for other things. I'll get I'll probably get some backlinks somewhere from it to my site. So, and then also the 50 to 100 people that I get on my list will probably be really high quality, like top-notch quality people, and probably the type of people that would be interested in hiring me for coaching. So
yeah, and the thing is I agree on all those counts. I mean, somebody who's going to sit through an hour of you talking and then sign up for your email list, yeah, they're definitely higher quality.
They're just gluttons for punishment.
Well, they're interested in what you have to say, as opposed to somebody that kind of half-heartedly sat through it, and so.
Yep.
Awesome. So Derek, I'm going to push a little bit. I really want to see that plan. I want to see a written plan.
I need pushing on that, because I've never. That's one of the things that I've tried to do dozens of times over the last however many years, and I've never been able to. I have no idea how to sit down and do something like that. I mean, it sounds easy, Oh, you sit down and you write out what you want to do. Well, what do I want to do? Why do I want to do this? How do I sit down and determine what I want to do?
This is an existential question almost.
It is.
What do I want?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is it's a little bit tricky, because it's like you go through that mental, well, is 5 of these enough, or is 10 of them enough, or maybe it's, well, I'm just going to reach out to all the people I know, but then I could also go do research and find a whole bunch of people I don't know.
There's literally an infinite number of things that I could write down.
Right. So, I mean, I would pick the things that look like they're going to pay off, that are things that you think you want to do. Pick a number that's reachable, but maybe is a little bit of a stretch. And then if you do everything you can to hit that target, then great. And if you totally blow past it, so let's say that you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to be at 5 remote conferences this year, and so you start reaching out and you wind up at 10, I mean, no problem, you know? And it wasn't that your number was a bad number, it's just that that's the way it worked out. But at least that way you have something, it's like, okay, I'm not quite where I want to be on this one, so I'm going to push it a little bit more and see if I can get the other 3 that I need.
Mm-hmm.
But the other end of it is at least then you know what kinds of activities you want to leverage this year, and you can go and chase them down. So, you know, the numbers may be the hard part to decide on, or maybe it is the activities that are hard to decide on. But just pick the ones that, you know, maybe we mentioned here or that come to mind as something that are going to be higher leverage. You may also just want to brainstorm and write down all the ones you can think of, and then just rank them, the ones you think are going to pay off the most. And then you can start saying, okay, now I want to do this many of this and this many of that, and I want to do so much of this. And that way you can make those judgment calls, and then the rest of it kind of falls off the list, and you can do it later.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you really need to go through the exercise of doing it, because then you're actually going to know what you need to be focused on and where you need to run ahead.
Right. So I may try to do this over my Christmas break. My dad is he's one of my mentors, quite frankly. He's been an entrepreneur since before I was born. So he's done these kinds of things a million times. He's owned businesses with 100 employees. Mm-hmm. And he's done things on his own before, so I may sit down with him to go through this kind of exercise just to get his input on how to do this kind of exercise, and just have somebody to talk to as I'm writing these things down and trying to figure it out.
Yep. I mean, whatever you've got to do, but I honestly think that you will probably get 2 or 3 times as much done if you know what you want to do and where that line is for success.
Yep.
There it is. Chuck's being pushy.
Chuck, do you have a format? Like, do you have an end product that you create that you find useful for this?
I don't. I should put something together, because I've done this a few times. I basically do this for every conference. Mm-hmm. Of course, now I just copy and paste my list and make sure there's nothing I want to add to it. But and I also I pay my assistants to carry out about half of that list.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, yeah, I definitely sit down and do this, because after having done it a few times, I have a pretty good idea of about what I can accomplish. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but that being said, I mean, for the first time I did it, that's essentially what I did. I just listed out all the things I thought I would lead to more signups for the conferences, and then I chased it from there and said, well, I'm going to reach out to these people that I know that can help me with this, and I'm going to reach out to these people I know who can help me with this, and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing at least so many of these and so many of those. I'm going to reach out to this entire list. So, for example, for the JavaScript conferences, I reach out to all of the Google developer groups on Google+. And so I don't necessarily say I'm going to reach out to 600 Google developer groups. It's just the whole list gets mentioned on a post to Google+ that says, hey, you're invited. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So things like that. But I've had all kinds of ideas. When I have new ideas, I add them to the list, and then if I commit to them, I usually add a timeline to them. So I'm going to get them done by this date so that I can promote the conference that's on this date.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not had. I mean, I've done this. I like to plan stuff, and I can easily fall into.
I am not a detail person, so I'm bad at it. So.
Well, I'm good at imagining things for myself to do. So I kind of have. I don't think I've ever really done a good job of doing like a quarterly plan or a yearly plan. Mm-hmm. Like I've done it a few times, and the problem is, I guess for me is, it's like when I invest a lot of time in it, and then I feel like it's the no plan survives the first contact with the enemy thing, and then like as soon as I basically like 2 weeks in, I'm like, okay, well, this is all wrong, and I
Yeah.
feel like I wasted a lot of time.
But the thing is that you didn't, right? So let's say that you had a plan for the month or a plan for, I like 90 days as kind of that time horizon, because that's long enough out for me to actually make bigger plans.
Right.
I can make smaller tactical decisions for this week and next week and whatever. I've actually started doing sprints for my business. But effectively, then what happens is, so I'll go through the current sprint based on what I had planned for the next 90 days, and then when I'm planning the next sprint, I sometimes have to reevaluate the 90-day plan. But I learned what was working, I learned what wasn't working, and even though I was kind of heading for the wrong target, I was still targeted and I was mostly in the right direction, so I just have to course correct. And sometimes even when I have to course correct a lot, I still got a whole bunch of stuff done that helps me move forward with the other things.
Yep.
And I get to execute. I hear people say make a year plan and a 5-year plan. Those are harder for me just because.
I'd be happy with a 1-month plan.
Well, 1 month is hard for me just because I feel like I can't really say this is what I'm going to get to. Like, this is the short-term goal. A month isn't long enough for me to get there. A month is long enough for me to run an experiment and figure out if I'm going the right way. So I like to do the 90-day, the 3-month plan, because then I can say, okay, this is really getting us there. Let's keep on it and let's try something else alongside it. But the year plan, generally, I just have some general things that I want to accomplish. So, the yearly income is one of them. Do a certain number of conferences and a certain number of this or that. And then the 5-year plan is really more about just what kind of lifestyle I want to eventually achieve.
Yeah.
And so then I can look at it and I can say, okay, so I want this kind of lifestyle. That means that I have to be in this position financially. I have to be in this position with the family. I've got to be in this position spiritually. I've got to be, in this mental space. And then I can start to work backwards. So this year I need to get at least this far. And then in 90 days, that means I'm going to be trying to achieve these kinds of things. And so that does inform it. But, yeah, I hear people say, well, in 5 years I'm going to have $1 million in the bank, and I'm going to be this and this and this and this. And for me, it's much more about how I live and how I feel about my life. And so I can put those in and then say, well, if I had $1 million in the bank, then I would feel this way about it. But I really only need 200,000 in the bank, or this or that, and then I can work that out. So. But the longer term planning, it's really hard because it's hard for me to envision where I'm going to be in a year anyway, and where the world's going to be in a year. But in 90 days, not enough is going to change to really impact things. I mean, unless something extremely major happens extremely close to me. But yeah, I should probably spell all that out, write a little mini ebook or something.
Yeah, that makes like for me. So, I mean, just thinking back over the last 6 months, I've been working with my copywriting coach since like August, and just all the shifts that I've gone through in that time, just trying to figure out, like now John and I have this deal, and that's basically totally changed everything about where I thought I was going. So, like, I don't know. I think it's harder. I think it's also harder to plan the less, like, I'm still like in the very early stages of figuring all this out.
Right.
And I think it's a lot. Things are a lot more fluid when you're that early on. And it's just like I found, like, I was really struggling trying to approach copywriting clients early on because I hadn't had any. So I don't really know what they want. Before you have 5 or 10 clients, you don't really know what clients want and what they value, and so it's hard to even know what to say or what to promise. And
yeah, but at the same time, just because you don't know doesn't mean you can't plan. When I'm really in the early stage of things, like I'm still figuring out email marketing, and you guys have really helped me level up on that quickly and get a good plan in place.
Yeah, no, I think it's just planning too far out.
Yeah, but half of my plan is at this point. So half of my plan is we're going to do the things that we talked about last week, and the
Right.
other half of my plan is I'm going to do this kind of thing and this kind of thing and this kind of thing so that I can learn what works. So I can learn
Right.
what works for my audience, so I can learn how to approach them, so I can learn how often I can sell to them, so I can, all of these other
Right.
things. And so the plan isn't necessarily to, make a bunch of money off the mailing list based on this plan. The plan is to learn how to do that. And so I
Right.
have all these experiments I want to run.
Right. Yeah, for me, like, so I was planning, so I was thinking 2 months ago, I was in like, okay, my path forward was I need to get more and more exposure to bigger and bigger clients so that I can just keep leveling up the amount of money that I could charge for each engagement. And so that, like, I'm going to be dropping like 2 or 3 grand to go to that traffic and conversion summit
Mm-hmm.
in February. No, not February. Yeah, in February. And the plan there was that I'd meet people that I could hire, that could hire me, and it would put me in touch with a lot of upper level, high level marketers and stuff. And now I don't care about any of that, at least for the near future. Like since John and I are working together, I'm not going to be taking on a lot of client work. So I mean, I'm still going to get value out of that conference. I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really interested in the traffic part of it. I'm actually really interested in the learning aspect of it now too, and just trying to meet a few people that have some strengths that I don't have right now. But I'm not going to be looking for clients at all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah, but at the same
if
time,
I'd booked 3 of those for next year, that would have been bad.
Yeah, but I mean, within the next while, and even going to this conference, you're going to get a whole bunch of ideas of things you can try.
Right.
And so your 90-day plan may be, okay, I have 4 of these strategies that all say they can, triple my traffic. So 90 days, I'm going to try all 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, my main goal for 2016 is to double my list. Well, no, I'm sorry. My main goal is to get my list to 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. So what's your plan for doing that? Now
I haven't completely gotten it. I mean, I don't have it ironed out yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be one of the components is going to be trying to partner up with people that already have lists.
Right.
And do webinars, or I think that's probably going to be my highest leverage. That, and then doing some bigger guest posts are probably the 2 things that will let me actually do that. I don't think that paid traffic is going to be an option. I've tried a few things, and it's looking like it's just going to be, it would be too expensive for me in the marketing niche anyway. Mm-hmm. So I have to find a way to leverage time instead.
Yep.
But I need to get a few more lead magnets put together. I'm going to do one I still need to figure out what I'm going to do for Bob Bly's list. I'm thinking I'm going to do a dissection of the email campaign that I did with John, and then use that as my lead magnet for Bob Bly. And I think that mailing right there will probably get me 500 to 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna guess. Might be, probably closer to 500. So that'll be a nice big bump.
Right, but it's a big step toward your target.
Yeah. I really need to get. Basically, what I need is a lot more hooks in the water, a lot more lines in the water. I need more lead magnets that I can, use for any of these events that I'm doing.
Yeah, so I'm going to push you there too. I mean, make a list. What lead magnets can I create? Where can I put the hooks in the water?
Yep.
How can I bait them? How can I make the bait smell good to the fish I'm trying to attract? I mean, all of these different things, because then you can start to say, ooh, I think this one's really going to pay off, so I'm going to do it first. Or I'm going to really prepare well for Bob Bly, because I think if I prepare well and knock it out of the park, that people are really gonna, I can get 1,000 instead of 500. But I would write out that plan, and that way you know where you're going to focus and where you think you're going to be able to make the biggest splash in getting that list doubled.
Yep.
Yeah, one of my targets this year is to get, and I think I can, if I do it right, is to get my list across all the podcasts to go up above 20 or 30,000.
Nice. And you're at right around 5 or 6 now?
I'm about 4,200 right now.
Okay.
And I would be happy with 20,000, but ultimately I want to get to 30,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's doable.
But then I can reach out and I can say, okay, we're doing an event. Okay, we're doing a webinar. We're doing a conference, etc., etc. And at the same time, I can provide them value on a regular basis, not just in the podcasts, and get them used to listening to me and caring what I think and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Cool.
And so yeah, so I like I said, I have things kind of planned out for that. There are a few things I need to do what I've been telling you to do and just write it down. But I tend to let it kind of percolate for a few days or a week, and so I'm kind of at the point now where I need to write it down because I've really got it kind of solidified in my head, the major things that I need to do. So.
Nice.
So what else you got going on, Josh?
Well, I've got my first 2 coaching students here, and so I'm going to be.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got those without. Still have not released the actual details of what I'm going to be doing with people. So I've been teasing it on my list for a while.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, I'm up to. Let me look. So I've got around 15. I'm right around 1575 for my subscribers right now on that list. And that one I lose. I'm emailing every day, so I lose anywhere from probably like 2 to 5 people a day. No, it's probably closer to 10 people a day, and then I typically get 10 to 20 people a day. So that's. But so far I've gotten. Let's see here. Of the how many people have clicked on that? Yeah, so I have 85 people from my list have raised their hand and said they're interested at some level on that. So that's a nice little sub list that I've got. So initially my first 2 students, I brought them in both at $250 a month, which is really low.
Deal.
Yeah, it's really low.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I sold them. Basically, I wanted to make sure that. So now I can say, look, I'm going to take 2 more students in January. I sold both of the last slots in, before I even announced the details. So I'm probably going to double it to 500 for January, or whenever I get around to launching it, or reopening it. So so it's going to kill the 250 thing is going to kill me. The one student is her name is Kathy. She's a couples therapist who I met on Perry Marshall's list, and I helped her out a bunch with. She's kind of naturally good at a lot of the copywriting stuff. I don't think she's ever studied it or anything, but she has just picked it up somehow, and she's pretty good storyteller, and then being in like a therapist, she's got a ton of amazing emotional stories to work with. So I've been helping her kind of learn to do that in her writing more, and so right now we're working on an email. She's going to be doubling her prices on her big retreat come January, or not double. I think it's like a 20%, 25% increase. So she's trying to book out. She wants to book out a bunch of these before the price goes up, basically to use that as the urgency. So I'm coaching her through. We've gone through like 3 or 4 rounds of revisions now on an email that she's going to send out, and this last version is pretty good. So I think we're gonna pull the trigger on it. So that's just been that's a lot of work for what I'm charging. But I'm pretty happy. She's an action taker. My other students, Kestrel, who's a longtime listener here, and he's an action taker too. So that's really what I want. Is I want people who are going to actually follow through on stuff. And so yeah, so that should be fun. So yeah, looking forward to. I'm gonna increase it to 500, and then probably within a couple months it'll be like 1,000 a month. Right. And then I might actually have. I think I'm gonna need to have some limits where, because Kathy's emailing me a lot. I mean, basically as an experiment, I basically said you have unlimited email access to me, and she's emailing me multiple times a day at this point. So I think it's going to have to be, I think I might have to like have a lower tier and an upper tier and limit the access a little bit on the lower tier just to keep myself sane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of modeling what I'm doing a little bit after Brian Harris's coaching at Video Fruit. He started off, he launched at like $100 just because he didn't have a lot of confidence that he could fill the seats, and so he filled them, and then he kind of worked his way up the same way that I'm going to do. But he's got, right now, his two tiers are $1,000 a month and $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
I think I'll probably end up somewhere around there as well. And I'd like to get, probably around 10 students at those prices. So it'll work. It's just a matter of getting my list big enough to where I have people that can afford to spend that much. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. It's fun to rewriting is always easier than writing for me, and I think it's that way for most people. So it's fun to take like somebody's half-baked email and help them. It's fun and easy for me to take a half-baked email and from scratch. So I think we lose Derek. Oh, there's Derek.
Yeah, the whole thing blinked for a minute.
Yeah, so that's cool. I'm using. I figured out how to get the payments and stuff automated with. I ended up using DPD for that, and DPD has a membership side that I never knew about, or maybe they launched it after I left. But when people log in, I have the ability, or when people sign up, I can set it up to like drip out content if I wanted to.
Yeah,
so
OptiGrim uses it for Ruby Tapas.
Yeah, so I could set it up to do that. Right now, what I'm doing is when people sign up, I'm sending them the intake form that I put together, so they get like a questionnaire right off the bat that they can use, or that they need to use to fill out. So yeah, I'm gonna do like two. Right now, I'm doing 2 Skype calls a month, and basically unlimited email access, and unlimited copy critiques, which I'm gonna have to restrict at some point as well because they're time consuming. But I'm telling all of my students that I'm retaining when they send me something to critique it, they're giving me permission to use it in future training materials. So everything that I'm putting together, all the critiquing that I'm doing, I can make videos out of it, or the written stuff I'm gonna probably put together into like an ebook. So, because you learn a lot, like you can learn so much. I've seen some really good books that are just a compilation of copy critiques where you just see what somebody actually wrote, and then you see the comments in the context, and it's so much more instructive than just getting hit with theory.
Yep.
So yeah, so that'll probably be my first couple of products will be along those lines, I think. So that's been fun this week. I still need to get the sales page written for that, which I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll kind of have the basic offer in place, and it'll be baked. So then what I'll do from there is just once a month, probably I'll spend a week or two on my list just promoting, apply now, and just keeping that pipeline of people who've applied full, and then cherry pick the ones who look like they're going to be able to actually implement and let them in. So So that's been cool. I am, what else? Oh yeah, I met, so Wes and I are gonna probably do another Sublime product in February, it looks like. So we met this week, and I talked to him about doing like a $7, just like a really fast, easy, simple product, and we're gonna do like a $7 product that is just like about 60 minutes worth of video, and it is like, hi, I'm a JavaScript developer. Here's how to get from 0 to 60 with Sublime in an hour. So how to get everything set up. Here's all the top plugins you need to use. And Wes said he could put something like that together in like less than a week. So he's going to do all the content. I'm going to do the marketing, and we're going to probably launch it in like February, I think. In January, we're going to do. He's had a promotion, or he just launched a course on React.js.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done phenomenally well. Like, I was shocked.
React is hot.
I was shocked how well he's done with it. I won't divulge his I don't know his actual dollar figures, but I was pretty shocked with how well that went for him. So we're going to do what's that?
Just to give you an idea, so I've been running the top 10 episodes of all of the shows.
Okay.
And I had to reset the numbers when I switched off of Libsyn.
Mm-hmm.
So the Brendan Eich episode isn't in there, and there are like one or two others that were really, really popular.
Okay.
But over the last, 14 to 16 months that I've been running the numbers with Keen.io, 3 of the top 10 are React.
Interesting.
episodes.
Okay.
And the top one is the React one that we did with some of the guys from Facebook. And
okay.
It is more popular by like 30,000 downloads than the next one.
Wow.
So
yeah,
so React is hot stuff these days.
Wes was telling me he thinks he caught it like during the explosive growth phase too. And that's what I did early on with Sublime, and it's pretty much Sublime is basically flatlined. It's not really growing anymore, but he did really, really well with that. So we're going to do a promotion in January for my list, and we're going to basically do like a week's worth of daily emails that are all offering some kind of Sublime tip related to React, and then encouraging people to opt into a sub list, and then we're going to send a sale offer out to that the next week. So yeah, so I'm thinking that's going to do pretty well. There's a lot of overlap between my list and his list, so
nice.
Yeah. So I also realized this week, I think I mentioned on the list, that I've been looking at some of my I've been looking at Sublime, and I would like to. I'm going to put some attention back on that starting in January, and try to get it. I think I could turn it into like a $3,000 to $5,000 a month income stream between advertising and affiliate offers, and I really need to get an automated sequence set up to pitch my book, or possibly like the package that Wes and I like to sell with all of our books put together. I need to get, if I can get that in place, I think I can probably make around $1,000 a month from that. And I looked, and I realized, I was kind of just digging around my site, and I realized I didn't have SumoMe. I had switched it over to send subscribers to Drip, but I didn't have it. I didn't select a list to put them in, so they were just kind of getting stuck in limbo. So I had like 900 subscribers just sitting there.
Wow.
In SumoMe that I had to I exported them to a CSV and imported them to Drip, and yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. So yeah, for like the last 6 or 7 months, half the people that have tried to sign up for my email list just got stuck in limbo.
Can I have all the money you left on the table?
No. I'll get it. Yeah, it would have helped my sale quite a bit, I think, because those were 900 of the higher quality,
right,
organic opt-ins versus 900 of the contest opt-ins. So Yeah, so that was like a big head slapper moment. So it's all fixed now,
We all
and
have them.
yeah, I think that site looks like it's going to be a steady, I think around 600 signups a month right now with the traffic that I'm getting. So I can definitely improve that. Actually, think about my conversion rates on that real quick. That is something like, uh, yeah, okay, so it looks like well, that's not really true. I'm getting, it's about 4%. If you look at the number of opt-ins to the number of um, site visitors I'm getting, it's about 4%. But that's including people that are opting in through my Twitter cards, so it's actually a lot lower than that. So I need to do the same deal with some better. I need to do some testing on my offers and get some better lead magnets out there for that. Trying to think if there's any. I think that's been most of the stuff I've been working on. John and I are. Looks like we're green lighted for our agreement starting. So starting January 1, we'll be working together, ongoing.
Cool. So you found an
Paperwork.
attorney and have your agreement all drawn up and everything?
Yeah, we have it outlined. The attorney's working on the paperwork now. So, yeah, basically, I don't know how much of the details we've talked about it, but basically, we have like some income milestones. I'm going to be like, John's basically making me a part owner, and then but it's all subject to vestings, and then we have to hit certain income milestones to get me fully vested, and then once we hit that, I'll be like a 49% partner.
Right.
So yeah, it's fun.
Sounds good.
Yep. It's pretty much all from my side of things. I'm not going to hit. So my income target this year was 150, and I'm not going to quite hit that, but I'm going to be darn close. I'll be probably within less than 10,000. So
nice.
That's pretty cool. It's my income has grown like 30 to 40 to 50% year over year for the last 5 to 8 years. So
nice.
I never thought I'd be where I am. So just getting warmed up though.
Yep. Well, things here have been pretty crazy. I'm actually sitting on about $40 to $45,000 in invoices for sponsorships for the next 3 months.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So I'm just waiting for that to come in. I mean, a lot of that goes out to paying Mandy to do the editing and stuff, but I still get to keep a reasonably good chunk of that. And so it's funny because things are like real tight right now, and I'm like, yeah, if I could just get one of those checks to come in.
Yeah.
And I know that one or two of them are already in the mail because I sent out the invoices, and they're like, yeah, we'll get this paid. But yeah, I'm really seriously considering dropping silver sponsorships, just because they don't convert very well at all. And so what happens is I'll have a sponsor come, and they're like, well, let me just try it out with the silver sponsorship. And then what happens is they don't get very many conversions. They decide it's not worth it, and then they never upgrade when I have an opening. And the thing is that 50% of the click-throughs go to the platinum sponsor. Period. It's just the way it is. The top one.
Yep.
And then about 48% go to the gold, split between the three sponsors.
That's not a lot. There's not a lot left over there.
That's right. So 1 to 2% is the it's the silver sponsor, and so it's just rough. But I feel like at the end of the show I could throw in this, the conference announcements and things like that. I'm also working on. I've decided that I have to get the text to add to the list thing together. So that's what I'm getting together through the end of the year, talking about getting that mailing list up, because then people out mowing their lawn, they can stop and punch it in on their phone.
Right.
And but anyway, and the other thing is then I think the silver sponsors might actually start to pay off for people a little bit more, because people can engage immediately. it's something that I want to offer to all of the sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
So they can choose a keyword. They can choose a keyword per show that they sponsor.
So how does that work? So do you text? You have to punch in a number, right?
Yes.
A phone number, and then you text the keyword and your email address.
So the way that I've seen it work with other systems like Lead Digits.
Okay.
I used to use a system called Call Loop,
Mm-hmm.
but they've kind of anyway, it's become abandonware. So I'm done with them, and I quit Lead Pages because I talked to them, and they're like, oh yeah, you can have, I think it was like 10 keywords per account, but because I had the Pro account or whatever, I could set up like 5 sub accounts, so I actually had 60 keywords, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Okay, so then I have to figure out which sub account I left whatever in, so I can blah blah blah.
Well, and then you got to probably wire them all up to your, like you've got to have
Right.
60 different things pointing at drip.
Yeah, and their drip integration is
janky.
Copy and paste.
Yeah, I think they got it to the point now where you could actually tell it to use the drip account that you had put in, but even then, it didn't have the nice integration that it had with some of the other systems where you could actually select a campaign or a tag or anything.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, eh. So I'd have to go in and manually set up all of the crap, and then anyway, it turned out not to be worth it, and I wasn't actually using their landing pages for things, and I'm probably just going to use Thrive themes for the rest of my landing pages. So I was just like, eh. So I left there, but I'm just going to get a phone number from Twilio, so it'll be a 10-digit number instead of a 5-digit number.
Okay.
But it'll be something dev chat, something like that. I'll get a number that has dev chat in the middle of it. So then they only have to remember like 3 extra numbers. In fact, I think I already bought one, and I think it was like 43 dev chat 4 or something. But anyway, so you text in the keyword, and then it texts you back and says, so you want the Ruby Rogues episodes, emailed to you. What's your email address? And then they text that in, and so it kind of
so it's a 2-step.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. So, but that
I think you can do it the other way though with Twilio, where you can send the message in and it'll parse it because you just parse it with Ruby.
Okay.
Or JavaScript or whatever, but it just seems like I'd rather just say text this code into this keyword and then it'll ask you for your email.
Okay.
So then I can have people opt in. I've had a few people say, well, if you're going to do that, then wouldn't it be nice to be able to get a text every time there's a new episode? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. It's too invasive, and I don't think enough people are going to want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty obnoxious, actually.
Yeah. So I do want to get a devchat.tv app out, and then people can set up their notifications on their phones.
How do those actually work? Do they? Not technically, but like, are they effective? Like, I cannot imagine installing an app for a podcast. Maybe that's just me.
I've heard mixed reviews on that.
Okay.
So I know some people who have them, and pretty much the ones that use it are their diehard fans, and they're still not using it to listen to the shows.
Okay.
What they use it for is interaction with the host or with the company that puts them out.
Okay.
So it's basically a channel for feedback, for extra information to go look up. So it's kind of a surrogate for the web page.
Yeah. Okay.
But the nice thing is that it updates itself, and so all the information's immediately available.
Mm-hmm.
And then it allows people to go in and hit the button and record themselves saying, "Hi, I listened to episode 123, and I really think that when John said blah 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 blah, he was wrong, and this is why."
That would pretty much be all of our comments.
I know, right? But the thing is it does give me another means of communicating with the people who are diehard enough to actually go out and get a devchat.tv app.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's for. And so then if there are special deals or sales on the conferences or anything else I want to put out there for diehard people, or to incentivize people to go pick up the app so that I have that way of communicating with them, then I can. Because some people, most people respond well to email, that's why email marketing works, but this is just another way to get things in there. The other thing is that I would like to start providing video versions of the podcasts, and I've talked about this before. I don't know about on this show, but I would. And so that way they can watch it there, and then it also gives them the option to AirPlay or Chromecast or whatever else.
Okay.
And it also tells them where to get things like a Roku app or what's the other one? The Kindle Fire Stick app.
Okay.
So then it gives them the other ways basically of participating in the shows. The other thing is if I go video, I'm really tempted to just move over to Crowdcast and do them live. And so then I would like to work with Crowdcast to actually hook into their APIs so that I can just broadcast it through the app. And so then they get a notification that says, "Hey, we're starting in 5 minutes," and and then they can go join in. But anyway, those are all kind of thoughts as far as being able to use it as a marketing channel. And it's not an exceptionally high priority, but it does give people another way of consuming the content. So I don't know, just some random thoughts about that. But yeah, anyway. For the most part, though, the focus right now is on the email list because I think everything else will kind of build from there. So the ability to reach people, the ability to get people involved, the ability to get people to go and download apps when I put them out there, the ability to get people to come to live events, the ability for people to do anything else like that.
Mm-hmm. Email list is critical.
Yeah, right.
I've learned that lesson 100 times in the last couple of years.
Well, the thing is that it seems like that's the way that you reach your people.
Yeah.
And then if they have another preferred way of being contacted, then
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, it builds trust, it builds familiarity, and it builds that relationship, and that's the people that have that relationship built through your email list are the ones that are going to end up buying something.
Yep. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's the major push, is to get the email list up, and then the other targets are just doing the other marketing things for getting the sales on the conferences out. And I just got things set up so that you can buy 3-pack, 6-pack, 9-pack, or season pass.
Nice.
So that went out yesterday, and people can go to allremoteconfs.com and scroll down past the list of the conferences, and then there are buttons for all those.
Right.
And they can get a group pass or an individual pass. And that gives them that option, so then they can say, okay, I want these and these and these. The 3-pack is effectively the cost of 3 conference tickets at the early bird price.
Nice.
And then the 6-pack and the 9-pack and the season pass are better deals, progressively than that. So the incentive is then to get them to buy, obviously, the bigger packs.
Yeah.
And I promised people, I switched Podcast Remote Conf to React Remote Conf because I just had so many people begging for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched it, and then I had about 5 or 6 people come back and say, "Hey, wait, where's the podcasting conference?" Without me prompting. I didn't tell anyone I switched it. I just switched it. And
wow.
I figured that there's enough interest just off of that 5, 6. There may have been a few more than that, but just off of those people to where, yeah, I think there's definitely something there that I can go and take advantage of. So I'm going to do one of those too. I just haven't decided when it fits in because the year's pretty packed already.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if the having the 6 and the 9 month pack, or the 6 and the 9 pack options, isn't too much, like too many choices.
What? So just a 3-pack and a
3-pack and 12-pack, and you could buy like multiple
3-packs.
3-packs.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to test it, I guess, but
yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of choices. That would be like, is it 1, 3, 6, 9, 12? Those are the options?
No, just 3, 6, 9, and 12. If
3,
you're going to
6,
buy
9,
one,
12.
you're going to go to the conference you want to buy it for and just buy it.
You could always drop the. Yeah, I don't know. That's. You could always drop the 9. Make it 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. We'll see what I sell, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely something we're thinking about there. I may just run it for a month and then take it out and see if I get better conversions on it.
Yeah. Nice.
But, yeah.
Are you going to keep selling throughout the year?
Yes. So
So-
you can buy the 9-pack all the way up through the end of the third conference.
All right. So you'll just drop off as you go throughout the year.
Yep. So the season pass, I think I also set that up to drop off after the end of the second or third conference because it's still a deal up through the second conference.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. So then if people just want them all, it's like, well, that's still the best deal.
Yep.
So yeah. So then I'm getting the email stuff together so that I can harass people when they check their email.
I saw your email today about the about conferences. So
Yep.
have you? That's your first one, right? Like your first blast to everybody?
Yeah. And I just put out there, I was like, the first line is, side note, I'm going to start sending these.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, like I've done that. I've changed up the formats several times and never really had anybody complain. Usually, what happens is you just get a bunch of unsubscribes, like a slightly higher than average unsubscribe rate initially, and then it settles down and no one cares. I've gone from not emailing at all to emailing daily, and back to emailing once a week, and like people just don't really. Sometimes, like when you initially, they'll be like, "Oh, I missed all those emails I was getting." You know, you'll get a few emails like that if you drop down the frequency, but you can kind of change things up, and people don't mind too much.
Yep. Yeah, one thing that I struggled with this one was that there were a few other things I wanted to put into the email and mention, but I didn't want to make it too long.
Right.
So I kind of kept it to what I kept it to.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think that I really 300 to 500 words is kind of a sweet spot. Much beyond that, if you've got a really, really amazing story that you can string out longer than that, great. If you're detailing like a lot of detail about an offer that people are eagerly anticipating, yes, go longer. Otherwise, I'd shoot for that 300 to 500 and really keep it focused on one main idea. Don't actually Pat Flynn does this, and I think it's his emails are not good at all. he just throws in like it's like, oh, I have an email. It's like the email you get from your cousin that you haven't heard from in like 6 months, and they're like it's like a bunch of unrelated stuff. It's like, oh, my dog got run over, and my sister won the lottery, and it's like just like all this stuff that has no. It's just a grab bag. Don't do that.
That's what my sister does. She's on a Mormon mission in Southern California, and it's like, this happened, and this other random thing happened, and we talked to these random people, and this other random thing happened. Love you, bye.
Yeah. It's like it's not a story, right? It's just like it's like the 10-second summary of 10 stories. It's like it's about as satisfying as reading the Wikipedia summary of the Harry Potter series, which I was doing this past week for an email I was writing, and it's like it's okay. That's just terrible. No one wants to read that. It's not. All the detail is what makes it interesting. So, yeah. So if you've got 3 things to say, that's 3 emails. So,
yep.
Goody.
Yeah, definitely.
I have like 10,000 words worth of email ideas in a text file. Just
yep.
pile them up.
So I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
Do do you set up the? So do you have your next broadcasts already in the hopper in Drip to go out, or?
Yeah, I'm actually. So what I've been doing lately, I worked a week ahead when I started doing this, which I'm really glad I did, because I missed a day or two over Thanksgiving, and it was no big deal. There was no interruption when I got sick or anything. But now I'm actually writing all 5 emails for the week on Monday morning.
Okay.
And then they all just go out, and so it's weird for me because I'm like 2 weeks ahead mentally. Like my wife will be like, "Oh, I loved your email this morning." Like I have no idea. I have to actually read them when they come in because I have no idea what actually went out.
Yeah, I have that experience when I do the 15-minute calls with listeners.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, I really liked the last episode of Adventures in Angular. This happened to me yesterday. And he's like, and I'm like, oh, which one is that? Because we're 2 weeks ahead, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's like a time warp.
And so he's like, oh, it was about. I still don't even remember what it was, but yeah, he's like, yeah, it was about this, and this really helped, and this and this and this. You know, I've been playing with Angular material, and you should do an episode on that. And I'm like, didn't we? And then I go look. Check your podcast app tomorrow.
Yeah.
Back in we had just recorded one.
90s, there was a show like I forget what it was, but it was the guy with the cat with the newspaper that would show up. It was like tomorrow. He'd get tomorrow's newspaper, and then he'd like spend his entire day trying to thwart some terrible catastrophe from happening. And
yeah, it was something edition or something. I don't.
Early edition. Yeah. That's kind of what this is like. But yeah, I highly recommend getting worked ahead, at least to where you have like, whatever your cycle is, if it's weekly or several times a week, to where you at least have like 1 or 2 weeks cushion. It's just so much. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to send these ones out on Fridays. Hey, blah blah blah. Here's my thinking. And then I think on Monday, I'm going to send out the week summary. And so,
okay.
So then it'll be, here are the shows that came out.
Are you just doing 2?
2
emails a week?
Well, then they get emailed on Wednesday or Thursday for the episodes of the shows that they're subscribed to.
Okay.
So potentially 7 emails. In fact, I need to put them together for Web Security Warriors and React Native Radio, because I have those now too.
It's unfortunate that the episode emails go out on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, because those are the best days.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One thing you could do would be you can actually in Drip you could stagger. Yeah, you could move them so that they only have a send time of like Friday. They go out daily, but they quote unquote daily, but then you uncheck all the days except for Friday,
and then it just pulls the last one in.
Yeah.
It came out within the last week.
Yep. That might because I would want to put one of your. I think your personalized ones are more important than the episode notifications.
Right. Well, then I'm building my personal brand audience, etc.
Yeah. I would look to try to put that in the middle of the week. I've noticed I see a big difference with Sublime. If I send an email on a Thursday versus Friday, like every once in a while I would be late or Wes would be a day late, and it's like it could be 5 to 10% difference.
Wow, really?
Just from sending on Friday, especially for us because we're in like the B2B space. So
Wednesday and Thursday, not Tuesday.
Tuesday's good too. Yeah, Monday and Friday are the worst usually, just for me anyway.
So should I try and bunch them all up in the middle of the week, or?
I don't know. Your call. I mean, I would probably try to do the episode notifications on Friday if the podcasts are coming out on
Wednesday and Thursday.
On Wednesday and Thursday, and then
I need to double check on the other 2.
Yeah, maybe put your personal one on Tuesday.
Okay.
On Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, that's just how I would do it.
And then the other one's going to kind of be the devchat.tv newsletter.
Yeah.
Here's all the stuff that came out, and here's what we're working on now.
Yeah, I think those are the roundups like that. I mean, it's going to have the same dynamic where it would probably get more click-throughs and everything, but if you're
Yeah.
yeah.
The majority of the traffic that we get for the podcast come through from people being subscribed to the RSS feed.
Hmm.
So I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to be a major bump in traffic. The only people who are subscribing to these things are subscribing because they're fans of a show or some of the
Yeah.
shows.
I'm not a big fan of like the wrap-up, like roundup newsletters, so it'd be
Should I
interesting
not
to
do
look.
that then?
If I would personally, I would not do it. I wouldn't do
Uh-huh.
it. I mean, John and Derek both do it, so I'm just not a big fan. It would be
I
interesting
don't.
to just look. Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, not anymore.
Okay.
I stopped doing that like 6 months ago, I think. I just started doing individual emails for each post.
Yeah. I
Why?
think that's
What
yeah.
made
That's,
you change what you were thinking there?
Click-through rates. I wanted people to. I wanted it to be more intentional to get my to. I wanted there to be one thing to say, basically, one thing
yeah.
for the person to read, one thing for the person to click. I wanted it to be focused so that it wouldn't be this like weak competitor to JS Weekly.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Cause, I mean, I like Roundup newsletters like JS Weekly and
Yes.
Node
Mhm.
Weekly.
Yes.
I still subscribe to those. I love them. Personally, I probably would subscribe to DevChat TV's weekly newsletter to tell me what episodes came out this week because I don't want to subscribe to podcasts any other way. I don't want to subscribe to podcasts at all, quite frankly. I want to listen to individual episodes when I see there's an episode that I want to listen to, and having that weekly roundup email from DevChat TV would be nice for me because there's probably going to be things I want to listen to in Ruby Rogues, in Freelancer Show, in iFreaks even, and definitely in JS, in the
Right.
JavaScript Jabber, but I don't want to have to go look for each of these episodes
Mm-hmm.
and look through all of these sites. So I would personally sign up for the roundup from DevChat TV. But if you
I could offer it as an alternative to, or in addition to, if you want both,
yes.
to the episode emails that come out.
Yeah, definitely, because people that just want to hear JavaScript Jabber, they just want the JS Jabber emails, and sending them an individual email. Hey, this episode came out. Here's the description, and here's the guest, and that's very targeted. It's very specific. People are going to click through. They're going to open that email and they're going to click through it a lot more. You're going to get a lot more engagement through those individual emails than you'll get through the roundup emails. But I think the roundup emails are important for people like me that I don't want to subscribe to the individual podcast email list.
Right. Open these three in a new tab because those are the ones that I wanted.
Exactly. That's exactly what I do with JS Weekly. I mean, I got the email this morning. Click, 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 and then later today I'll go read those 3 articles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like if you're going to do to really do a roundup newsletter right, you have to. It has to be like that level of effort and quality.
Yeah.
Right.
Where it's like unique, it's actually unique and it's curated. See, the other thing that's weak about when people like us do those is that Peter Cooper's taking the best of the web and boiling it down versus like your typical blog or whatever content distribution network. There's going to be like some good stuff and some weak stuff, and probably 1 or 2 things are really good and everybody should know about them, and the rest is kind of like it's like weaker or there's some filler or whatever, because we all have just to keep our publishing schedule going. So it's to me like those roundup newsletters are just kind of weak sauce.
Yeah, I significantly improved my open rates when I stopped doing the roundup once a week emails.
Plus,
it may have been closer to a year ago that I did that, honestly.
Plus, they're not really optimized. Like it's just pulling. So like what works well, what works well to kind of start a blog post is not the same thing that would work well to get people to click through to a blog post from the email. So you need to really to get good click-throughs and everything on that. You'd need to write the summaries and everything so that they make sense versus just pulling in the first 57 characters of your blog post.
Right. No, I was going to write.
You're going to write
for each of those. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I kind of figured because ultimately the blog post is the show notes, and so it would be intro this and
exactly.
We talked about this, and and it's all bullet points, and I can take that and I can write out a concise paragraph that says, this week, Derek Bailey from Watch Me Code talked to us about queuing and messaging with RabbitMQ, and here are some of the highlights, and here's one surprising thing that we got out of it.
Right. Yeah.
And don't miss when Joe picked the new Star Wars movie or something. If there's something some other highlight in there that I really want to point out.
You got to keep those cryptic. You won't believe what Joe picked for his.
Joe's one weird pick.
Yes.
Yeah. You won't believe what we got on video this week. My son
Programmer
has this
wardrobe malfunctions.
Yes.
There we go. My son has this obsession with Bigfoot, and I'm not sure, and I'm not sure, but every so often he'll just talk about Bigfoot for like a half hour.
It's all those times you patted into his bedroom when he was a little baby,
That's right, with a beard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really seriously thinking about, because he's also he gets really excited about other semi-mythological creatures.
Oh, okay.
The technical term for them is cryptids. So things like Loch Ness Monster and some of these others where there's some questionable photographic evidence that they exist. Right. And people are out there, so people have found like footprints that they attribute to Bigfoot, or they've found this or that, and there are all kinds of urban legends around what they are and where they came from and all this stuff. And so I'm seriously thinking about doing a podcast with him about that. And
that'd be fun.
Just because I think it would be fun. It's a fun topic.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I could teach him research techniques on the internet and teach him how to use the internet while I supervise him. The other thing is that I honestly think that that it's an opportunity for me to take some time and not just spend time with him, but teach him a skill that he can actually go use later on in life. So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The audience profile of that podcast.
Well, especially with a 10-year-old explaining it to you, right? So
yeah.
It'd be really interesting. But
wow.
Yeah, that's another thing I've kind of been playing with in my head.
So along with those semi-mythological beings, you should put an episode in there about passive income. There's nothing passive about passive income.
Right. I've started using the term like recurring income or like
the closest
residual income, I guess.
Yeah. I think the closest I've seen people get to real passive income, but even that diminishes over time, is when they have make a really good case for an affiliate product and they put up a landing page and it continues to sell. But again, over time, I mean, even that needs to be refreshed periodically.
Yeah, that stuff ages pretty fast.
So, but yeah, the recurring revenue from things like video series and stuff, yeah, you have to keep making media. So.
I love it.
Yep.
Bigfoot,
and I cleaned my office
passive
this week.
income.
So
nice.
Yeah.
Your wall looks clean.
Yeah. Yeah, I had piles of stuff on my desk, and now I have smaller piles of stuff on my desk.
I'm surprised nobody commented about what's behind me.
I need to take a...
We didn't want to know what you did
to
take
goodness.
Your wife off.
It's no longer a treadmill. It's now a bed.
Nice.
It's a bed mill.
Yes. I can the whole stand-up desk thing. No, this is the lay-down desk.
Oh, there you go. So that's for you. You don't have guests over.
This is our guest room.
Right.
My parents come down 3 or 4 times a year, and they always sleep in my office. And they've been putting a blow-up mattress on the treadmill, and it's just not a comfortable situation. Plus,
On the treadmill?
yeah.
Like, there's floor space, right?
Well, the two mattresses, one on the treadmill, one on the floor.
Oh,
Right.
okay, okay.
Plus, I snore a lot, and my wife often gets mad at me when I snore because it keeps her awake. So she'll end up sleeping in here, or kick me out, and I'll sleep in here or whatever. So this is basically guest bedroom / whoever is annoyed at somebody snoring.
You sound like my parents. They take turns sleeping in the bed
Yeah.
because they both snore and bother each other.
Oh, man.
So, for example, my mom. So at my parents' house, they have their master bedroom, and then they have 2 other bedrooms upstairs, and one is my mom's office, and the other one is her sewing room.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, any other space he has is just stuff next to the chair that he sits in the living room.
Right.
But yeah, so my mom will go and read sitting in the recliner in her office until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then she'll come kick my dad out of bed so that she can sleep. Because he's snoring. Yeah.
Sleeping shifts.
Yep.
Yeah, so he'll go out to his chair in the living room and kind of doze in there. But even sometimes they can hear each other through the closed door and the walls.
Yep.
It's really funny.
Man. Wow.
I think my mom's. I don't know what she's gonna do though, because my dad had open heart surgery on Tuesday, and so when he comes home from the hospital, she can't kick him out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
They need individual, like the cone of silence from.
Exactly.
Need their
Awesome.
own. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, my office is far more than just an office. It's an office. It's a mad science electronics lab. It's a sewing room now, or crocheting room. It's
A Lego
guest
museum.
bedroom. Lego museum. It's a whole
Oh,
lot of
wow.
things.
You should put that sign up on your website or something. You have now entered the.
All right. I'm gonna
All
wrap
right.
it up here.
Yep.
Thoughts for the day?
Oh, not so much a thought for the day, but a recommendation. I guess my pick for the week. The Automatic Customer. I was hanging out with some other developers at lunch on Wednesday, and one of the guys that I was talking to is marketer / product development guy. And when I was telling him about Watch Me Code, he highly recommended this book, The Automatic Customer, by John Warrillow.
I'm disappointed that it was a book. I was hoping it was just like something that you could just have, buy, just unlimited automatic customers.
Comes with
Yeah, totally.
stormtroopers.
That would actually be passive income.
That would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be reading this book probably over Christmas break. I'm getting a little bit burnt out on reading Star Wars books, which is kind of surprising to me. I've only read like 10 of them in the last couple of months.
Is that even possible?
I know. I'm like super freaking excited about episode 7 coming out next week, and I'm not going to be able to get to see it on opening weekend, which I basically have to stay off the internet for the next month.
That's
Well, let
okay.
us know
George
how that
Lucas might
goes.
be around to ruin it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to see it in Kansas while we're up in Kansas for Christmas. But yeah, so that's instead of a thought for the week, I just have a book recommendation for The Automatic Customer. Looks really good. It sounds, I mean, and coming from a recommendation from a guy who's helped build these kinds of businesses in the past, it has potential.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I think for me, it is. I'm just getting into this coaching stuff, and it's actually really amazes me. Like, it's really easy when you do something a lot to just sort of take for granted how much about it you know, and how much of it is just second nature. And like, I was trying to explain to my student how to, like, it took us about 3 passes through this email to get the story that she was telling right. Like, she was starting like, it was all out of order, and it was starting in a way that like diffused all the tension. And it was a story about, like, a couple that's having marriage trouble, and the wife finds she gets into the husband's cell phone and finds texts from the other woman, and there's like all this built-in drama, and she just told it completely backwards, and it like completely just let all the air out of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to explain to her, like we've gone through about 3 revisions now, and she got it on the last time, like how do you structure a simple story? Like to me that's actually kind of second nature, and I don't really even have to. I can just go, okay, like I can look at it and I'm like, okay, I'll start there, and I can pick out the best place to start the story and how it should unfold and everything. And so I'm gonna have to like document. I'm gonna start collecting all these lessons that I'm gonna be teaching, and then find a way to like put all that together in some way that's useful for people. But yeah, it's amazing how much, to me, just how much of what you stop appreciating what you know how to do because it's just so easy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, and it's really easy to sell yourself short when you're in that position.
Mm-hmm. All right, my thought is mostly around, I've been reading a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. When I was in college, I was an Italian minor, mostly because I went on my Mormon mission to Italy, and so I spoke fluent Italian, and I had to take 2 classes to get the minor.
My brain immediately went to you in a hard hat with a pick and shovel. Sorry.
Okay.
Minor.
I'm not following you.
Minor with
Minor.
E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I dig those Italians out of the mountains. Anyway, so when I was there, I took a literature class and we read another book called "If This Is." I don't know what it is in English, but in Italian it's "Se questo è un uomo." It's "If This Is a Man," and it's by Primo Levi, and he talks about, they were both in Auschwitz, incidentally.
Mm-hmm.
Though Frankel didn't stay in Auschwitz, he got moved. But anyway, it was really interesting just to see, again, kind of this, the way that these people were treated, and to understand the way that they were sort of dehumanized, not sort of, they were dehumanized by their guards and things, and just recognizing how much control we have over our true circumstances just from our mindset and the way that we look at things. And the other thing was just how grateful I am for some of the things that I kind of take for granted with the freedoms that we have, generally, that we're not in a war-torn area or an area where we really have to worry about some of the horrible, heinous things that happen in the world happening here. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to kind of inspire people to take a minute and think about how much, how you approach things, what's your attitude, what are your thought processes, and also to think about how grateful maybe you should be for some of the things that you don't think about every day that you have, like enough to eat, or a nice place to sleep, or the fact that nobody's going to come and take things away from you or hurt you. And yeah, those are my thoughts.
Heavy.
I know. I'm like, now how do I bring this back so that we can end on a high note?
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Star Wars Episode 7!
Yay!
I watched a montage of all of the Episode 7 trailers this morning. It was 13 minutes long.
Nice.
I still don't know what the story's about.
No, I was reading about that. They actually, like, the actors don't know what the story's about.
Yeah.
They've kept it so closely guarded that I don't think the actors have seen it yet.
I'll tell you that it's a lot different from, it seems like, a lot of the other movies where they basically give you a thumbnail of all the plot points.
Yeah.
Then you go see the movie and it was like, all the good parts were in the trailer, and I could have told you exactly how it was going to go.
Yeah, I probably won't see it for a while because I haven't been to a movie in a long time.
I hate movie theaters with a passion. Mm-hmm. Cannot stand the crowds of other people in theaters ruining the movie experience. So I typically don't go to theaters, but I really, really, really want to for this one.
Yeah, I always joke about taking like a cell phone jammer to the theater, and
Yeah.
then inevitably somebody goes, that's illegal. It's a federal crime. You could go to prison. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it.
I'm just going to bring a very large box made entirely out of woven copper thread and put it in the room on all four walls and the ceiling.
There you go.
It's not a jammer. It's decoration for the walls.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a Faraday cage, but only because it's decoration.
Yeah.
You could crochet it, Derek.
I could totally
Then it really-
crochet that out of conductive thread. Yes. I'm going to go order some conductive thread right now.
I bet they have that on Amazon.
Oh, they do. No, I'm serious.
Oh,
Conductive thread and wearable technologies is a huge thing these days.
Yeah.
Adafruit and SparkFun and a whole bunch of other websites sell this stuff, and you could probably get it on Amazon.
All right.
All right.
See you guys next week.
All right,
Yeah.
bye.